Hi peeps, today's video is going to be about freedom, and since this is an art channel, it only makes sense to focus on artistic freedom in particular. And I asked you all to give me your ideas and your definitions of freedom in last week's video and also in the community tab. And it actually, the video I forgot to mention artistic freedom, and that was on me. But anyway, before we get into the video, I'd like to highlight this comment here. This comment here from Pine of the Berry, who's been commenting pretty regularly. And I really appreciate your comments, and I like reading your comments and responding. And I like getting comments and responding to them. I think it's really fun. So thank you so much for your comment. And thank you so much for all the people who commented about this particular topic for today to help me out with this video. Thanks. Anyway, so the first comment is from Luna Yin, who has been around since the beginning. I remember Luna Yin commenting on some of the very first videos, and I really appreciate you sticking around and still commenting to this day. Thank you. Luna Yin said in relation to the topic of freedom, freedom to me means to be able to express yourself to a limit, of course. Vandalism and putting others down isn't expressing yourself. It's also to be able to live without fear of persecution or judgment, and to be able to achieve your goals without people blocking your path for their own gains. And this definition, oh my goodness, I really like it because it says pretty much exactly how I feel about freedom. That it does mean to be able to express yourself freely without persecution, and that there are limits. Like, I just can't go around and like I feel like to be able to do whatever you want to do, that depending on what that is, it can be harmful or hurt other people depending on what that is. Like what Lena had said about vandalism and putting other people down, like that may be what someone wants to do, but that's not good. So there has to be some type of rules and regulations. So I really like this definition, and I agree with it, and it says pretty much exactly what I think of freedom when I think about it. You know, when I do think about it. The next comment is from Pine of the Berry once more. What do you know? You got featured twice. Pine of the Berry said, freedom to me means to be peaceful, happy, healthy, and surrounded by my friends, out in nature, untouched by the world, with no rules. And I really like this comment as well, especially the peaceful, happy, healthy part, because who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want to be able to live peacefully and without, like what Luna said, persecution, without people bothering you, without people judging you all the time? That's just, I feel like that's anyone's ideal version of freedom, to be able to express yourself freely and to be happy and peaceful and just be able to enjoy life in general, because like who doesn't want that? Okay, so the next comment is from DC Sanders 92, and he said, freedom to me means the ability to make my own choices, deal with my own success or failure, and live with the outcome. Live unchallenged or unbothered by what others do and think. Artistic freedom is the same thing. Let me draw what I want to draw, not what is trendy or what society wants me to draw. And especially that last part, I feel like it's really important, because like, as you know, as an artist, I should be able to, you know, express myself freely. And if I want to draw something that's maybe political or something, and it makes someone uncomfortable, the person that's uncomfortable should not be able to tell me you can't do that, because, you know, especially if it's something like political or is supposed to speak to some issue going on in the world, especially like right now, like the people who are made uncomfortable by the artwork should not tell the person who created the artwork, I don't like it, you shouldn't do it, it made me uncomfortable, because that's kind of the point. It's supposed to make you uncomfortable. So I really like that comment, and I like what she said about what society wants you to draw. And I just like, especially with like the political art and stuff like that, like I feel like political art is there for the purpose of making some people uncomfortable and making people think about certain things, and the people who are uncomfortable should not be able to say you can't do that. You know, that really makes sense to me. Okay, so now I've highlighted you all's comments, and now I'd like to add my 12 cents to it. My idea of freedom is heavily influenced by my time in the Nation of Islam, like I mentioned before. I grew up in the Nation of Islam, and I'm a registered member of the Nation of Islam, and we have this thing called the Muslim program, and in the Muslim program there's a section called What the Muslims Want, and the first point is we want freedom, we want a full and complete freedom. And also our flag, which is featured in my video, my drawing today, which is in the video, and also right here, up here. It has a red background, which represents the sun, which represents freedom. It also has an F in the upper right hand corner. I forgot directions for a moment there, but it's all good. And we also have this little book here called The Flag of Islam, and it has a section on freedom. So, you know, my whole life I've just been surrounded with, you know, material talking about freedom, and just, you know, just thinking about freedom. I've also written a few essays for school about freedom. So I've, you know, this is definitely something I've been thinking about for a long time. And my idea of freedom is that freedom is life itself. Like I said, in our flag, freedom is represented by the bright background, which represents the sun, and the sun gives light freely to everyone on the planet, no matter who they are. Like, even if you're a bad person, or even if it's like a poisonous plant or something, everyone and everything gets sunlight for free and without discrimination. You just get it for free. And like, sunlight is cool, you know. You get vitamin D from the sun. It helps grow your plants. You can power your house with it. You know, it's just an amazing resource, and it's free for everyone. You can't, well, I don't know. I was about to say you can't charge someone for sunlight, but I feel like someone would try to come up with a way to do that, kind of like in the Lorax with the guy who found a way to sell air to people. I feel like someone would try to do that. If they could, they probably would. But, you know, other than that, like, other than people trying to sell it, like, sunlight is free. You can just get it for free, and, you know, it's really cool. You know, that's just like a really cool thing if you think about it. Like, you can power, like, a house or like a car or something with the sun, and it's free. Just think about that. It's just such a cool concept. And like I said, I've written essays about freedom, and usually those essays were about, like, does freedom mean that you could do like anything, like whatever you want? And the thing that I usually came up with in regards to that is no, you can't do whatever you want, because it depends on what whatever is. Because, like, I mean, for example, like, just there are laws in place that kind of keep everything in the galaxy in order. For example, the law of gravity. Like, I want to fly, you know. That's just like, if I had a superpower, I would either want to be able to use the force, and if I couldn't use the force, I want to be able to fly. But the law of gravity is there, so I can't just go and like just start flying unless I have like some apparatus or something, like if I get an airplane I can fly. But I just can't like just lift up out of the chair right now because the law of gravity is preventing me from doing that. But the law of gravity is not there so that I can be miserable and not learn how to fly. The law of gravity is there so that, you know, everything will stay where it is on the planet. You know, the law of gravity, it helps keep all the planets in our solar system, you know, together around the sun, so they just won't like float off somewhere and not be able to receive that amazing sunlight. And, you know, the gravity is there so that we can, you know, so I can walk the earth and not just float off into the vacuum of space. You know, that would be pretty bad, you know. So even though I can't fly, I think it's a nice trade-off, you know, to like not be able to float off into the vacuum of space. That would be pretty bad, because as soon as I get out there, I'm done. So I don't think laws or rules are necessarily bad. I feel like a lot of people don't like if someone tells you, you can't do this, you know, this one right here, you can't do that. You know, that's not, you know, it doesn't sound cool. It's like, why can't I do it? I want to do it. But it's, like, especially, like, if you were, you know, in charge of governing a society, you have to put laws in place, because you can't have everyone doing whatever they want to do, because I feel like what someone wants to do may be harmful to someone else, kind of like what Luna again said about you know, vandalism or, you know, putting other people down. Like, that may be what someone wants to do, but it's going to be hurtful and harmful to everyone else. So that person should not be allowed to do that. So there should be a law in place saying, do not hurt other people's feelings. That's not cool. And, you know, they're just, I feel like, you know, a law like that, don't hurt someone else's feelings, is like kind of like an unwritten law. It's like no one has to like write that down and say, don't hurt other people's feelings, be kind to your mother, hug your grandma. You know, no one has to like put that down in a rule book somewhere so that people know how to do it. It's like in us on a cellular level. You just know to do it. You know to hug your mommy and your grandma, and you know to be kind to other people and to be kind to nature. And I mean, some people may need some assistance. I just feel, you know, that I haven't even talked about artistic freedom yet, but like in general, I just don't feel like laws are inherently bad, you know. And as far as artistic freedom is concerned, because this is an art channel and it makes sense to talk about artistic freedom, and it happens to be my name on social media, artistic freedom to me does mean that I can draw freely. Like if I want to do political art, or if I want to, I don't know, do abstract art, all of a sudden, like, you know, I mostly do draw people and stuff, like, but if I want to draw abstract, suddenly I'm gonna do that. Or if I, you know, I would like to get into music. I need some help in that field. But like, if I want to just drop drawing all of a sudden, I want to do music, or I want to do poetry or something, like, I'm free to do so. No one can tell me that I can't do that. Well, someone could try to tell me, but like, I'm gonna do it anyway because I'm free to express myself however I feel. But at the same time, when it comes to things like art or music, or I don't really know the laws, the rules of poetry and stuff like that, but I'm pretty sure there are some rules. There are rules, as I just said, and they're not there so that you can't express yourself freely. They're so that you can express yourself better. So things like in art in particular, like visual arts, you have color theory, perspective, what else? Anatomy. Those type of things are there for you to learn so that you can express yourself better, so that you can make better art, and so that your art will look neato. And you know, I've learned a few things about those things. I took a art class in my first semester. I did the spring semester this year was my first semester, and I took an art class, and I did learn a lot of stuff in that class. Particularly, one of the things I learned about was perspective. Perspective is something I really struggle with, and you know, not knowing how perspective works is very limiting. And the things that I have learned, that I did learn in that art class about perspective, it wasn't like a lot. We didn't do like a lot of hands-on stuff. It was like a lot of like just looking at art and analyzing it and stuff and learning terms. But I did learn some things about perspective, like there's linear perspective, isometric perspective, and atmospheric perspective. And I've learned since then how to incorporate particularly atmospheric perspective in my artwork, and I've seen an improvement in my backgrounds. And you know, that law, you know, how perspective works, has helped me to be able to express my ideas better and to draw better. So I feel like laws in art aren't necessarily bad, but other laws, like telling someone like you can't draw political art, or you can't draw this, or you cannot draw that, is, I feel like you can't do that, because someone should be able to express themselves freely and to say what they want to say with their art, how they want to say it, you know? And like with music, there's music theory. You know, you have to learn, I don't know much about music theory, to be honest with you. I don't know how to read music or anything, but there are things that you have to know in order to be able to play like an instrument, like the violin or something, properly, you know, so that it can sound good. And to be able to, you know, like if you want to write music, you have to know the rules. And like I said, I'm pretty sure the rules for poetry, I don't know much about poetry, but I'm sure the rules, and you have to know them, and they're not there to limit you. They're not there so that you can't, you know, express yourself. They're there so that you can express yourself better. And you know, there's this saying in art where you know the rules first before you break them. I'm paraphrasing. I don't think it goes exactly like that. But like you learn the rules of things like anatomy perspective before you break the rules. And, you know, that's really helpful as well. You know, like those laws and those rules are there so you can, you know, be a better artist. And like in society, I feel like some laws are there so that, you know, the society can function better as a whole and so that people will live their best life. Because, you know, some people's idea of what they want to do may not be, you know, the best idea for the whole. So there has to be some type of structure so that everyone can be happy together. Yeah. By the time this video goes up, like, if you're watching it as soon as it's live, Mr. Farrakhan is speaking live, and I'm going to put a link in the description so that if you're interested in watching it, you can. And it's going to be up afterwards, so if you're watching this afterwards, I am going to put another link so you can watch that afterwards if you're still interested. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed my picture as well. I didn't really talk about it much. It's a gouache piece. It was really inspired by freedom and such. So it's just like an idea I had in my head, and I wanted to paint it because I thought it in my head it looked really cool, so I wanted to, you know, bring it to life. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any other definitions of what you think freedom is, feel free to put it in the comments. I would like to read them and discuss it with you because I think that's really fun and nice. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support me or my art, you can head over to my Ko-fi page. My Threadless Shop is still down right now. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, honestly, but hopefully I figure out something. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day.